So in this video, I'm going to try to implement Google Calendar app. I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, so maybe I'll have to break it down in a few videos. We'll see how it goes. So first of all, I just have an empty blank spreadsheet. I also have a Google Calendar. There's nothing on this calendar right now, as you can see. So we're going to fix that. So I'll go ahead and add some things to this calendar. Let's go ahead and add some. I don't know how does this work. So there it is. We click on it. We're gonna give this some title. So I don't know. So this is our Wednesday day meeting. How do we time edit event? It's not an all day event, so I guess we'll say it starts 10 a.m. and it ends 2 p.m. same day. Sounds good. I'm gonna go ahead and enter a location for this too. So why not just do it Chicago, Illinois? We'll have some description for our Wednesday event. So that's gonna be my event. Let's go ahead and save that. So we have an event. I'm gonna go ahead and add another one. Let's say over here. And I'll call this another Tuesday event. Doesn't really matter. Sure. Airport is fine. Instead of all day event, again, I'm gonna choose some time. 11 and 2 p.m. Doesn't matter. And some description. Some event in our airport. It's good enough. Go ahead and save this. Right, so I have a couple of events. We could have more. So I just had to add some event because there are no events in this calendar. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to basically try to get all these events to this empty spreadsheet using app scripts. So in order for me to do that, I'll go ahead and add the script editor. There we are. I'll go ahead and name this function. So I'll call this function get events. As good as any. Save this, get this in project name, calendar stuff. Zoom in, so hopefully it's easier for you to see what's going on here. Now let's go ahead and get started. So to access our calendar, we need to access it through this calendar app. So I'll go ahead and open that. So this calendar app will have methods assigned to the app. So you can see we can create events, we can create a new calendar. But what I really want to do, I want to basically get the events from this calendar that I have open right now. So to do that, I'll get all calendars, so we can see what calendars we have, get all owned calendars, get calendar by ID. That sounds good. We could have done this too, but this looks really good by ID. So see, it says gets the calendar with given ID. Perfect. So that's the method we're going to use. So going back here to my scripts, I'll do .get calendar by ID, and it says the ID needs to be, and I probably went too fast here, but I'm going to do this again. So .get calendar by ID. So if you can see right here, it wants the ID as string. Perfect. So I'm gonna have to find the ID, and it has to be as string. So there it is, as text. So in order for me to do this, I'll go to my calendar. This is the calendar. So this is the calendar I'm working with. I'm gonna go ahead and click on this little arrow here and go under calendar settings. Now I want to see what the ID is. So there it is, calendar ID. See, there's the ID. Gonna go ahead and copy my ID. Perfect. Now I have my calendar ID. Just go back to my calendar. Now going back here, that's gonna be my calendar ID. Perfect. So let me just assign this to a variable. Perfect. So I have my variable. So that's gonna be the calendar. So in that calendar, let's see what we want to do. So get calendar by ID. See, what it's going to return is a calendar. So I'm gonna go inside of that calendar and see what methods we have for the calendar, which is because this variable that I'm going to get, which is this, is going to be a calendar. So it will be this class, which will have all of these methods. And we can create an event, we can do all this stuff, but right now we just want to get the events from our calendar. So there it is. So get color, get events. Perfect. So get events, and you can see there's get event series by ID, get event start time, end time, get event start time, end time options, get events for day. So I'm gonna use this one. This looks pretty good. Get event start time, end time. So going back here, dot get events, see start time, end time, and it says is going to return and calendar event, and the square brackets means it's going to be an array. Okay, great. So I know it's going to be an array, whatever is returned, and I also know it needs the start time and end time as a date. So that means it's a date type of JavaScript. Perfect. So get events. So now we need the start time and end time as a date time in JavaScript. So we're going to add new date. That's going to be a JavaScript date. And we also need an end date, which is going to be again a new date, which is going to be a JavaScript date again. So again, so if you know JavaScript, you know what I'm doing here. I'm basically creating an instance of a date. But otherwise, just this is the way we're going to get a date to be an actual date in JavaScript, right? So here I'm going to type what's going to be the starting date. So for now, what I'm going to get is basically I'll try to get everything for September. So I'll go everything starting from September 1st all the way through September 30th. So should be able to just do this September 1st, 2017, and I'll start 12 a.m. and I'm going to end September 30th, 2017, and what is it, 11:59 p.m. I guess, not 59:59. So that should hopefully work. That's our start date, and that's my end date for September. And what it said, it's going to return get events start time. It's going to return calendar event as an array. So let's see what's in it. So it's going to return calendar event as an array. That means it's going to be an array of events. Okay, should be fine. So I'll go ahead and actually assign this to a variable again. I'll call it var events equals to this. It's going to be our variable that's going to return our events. And because it said it's going to be, if you remember on the previous one here, see the square bracket means it's going to be an array. It's basically going to be like an array of events. And what that means is that it's not going to be one event, it's going to be a bunch of events. That makes sense because if we're pulling a lot of events from a calendar, it should be a lot of events in our array, right? So that means I'll have to basically iterate through those events. So for that, I'll use a for loop. And I'll go var I equals 0, I, and I want to loop through all the events. That means I'm going to loop this through event length. I'm going to find how many things it has in the array and run it that many times. That's the whole point of doing the length of that. So long story short, this will allow me to basically run this loop for as many events as it ends up having. In our particular case, we should have 2 events in this particular array, right? So 2. So to now get through this loop, so in this for loop, what we're going to do, we're going to get this events, and we need to loop through all of them. And the first one is going to be 0, which means as the I is 0, that's going to get us the first event. Now, that means that when I get this first instance, which is the 0, it's going to be the first event, which is going to be the class of calendar event. That's returned. So in this, let's see what we get. So represent a single calendar event. Okay, that we already figured that out. So get color, get creators, get date created, get description. So that should be good. And get ID, get location, get start time. Okay, so this is get title. Perfect. So it looks good. Now, getting back to the calendar for a second, I just want to go through this again. So if you remember when I was making the calendar, what I did, I made a title. That's going to be our title of our event. I have the start time. I have the end time. I also did the where, which is apparently that's going to be the location. And I also did this description, right? So now that so those are those fields. So to get the information from those fields, as I was going through those different get methods here, see, location should get me this location, for example. And the title, get title, right, should get me this title. Okay, so let's start with the title. So if I do .get title, and it's going to return a string. It should do that. That makes sense. That's going to return the title. So let's assign this to a variable var title equals that. And that's going to run it through all of them. So we should get every single title. So right now, I just want to log this to make sure this actually works. Because it should work, but let's try it anyways. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to go ahead and run this get events, right? So run get events. So, of course, it's going to ask us for access to our calendar because we're trying to access from our Google Sheets to this calendar object that's in our account. I'm going to review permissions. I choose my account. Allow access. Now keep in mind that the way it's going to ask you for access, it might not be this screen. So I have another video that's going to show you how to get the authorization screen. If you don't get this screen, you're going to get another one. So go ahead and go through that process. I have a video for that. I'll go ahead and hit allow. In my case, I'm going to allow access. So it ran without errors. That's good news. Now let's go under view logger in logs. And awesome. So it works. So another Tuesday event, that's basically this, which is, as we said, the title. And we have our Wednesday meeting, which is the second thing in our September calendar. Perfect. So that works just fine. So I went through September the beginning to the September end. I looped through those and I got the title. So that's cool. Now the only thing is that I probably don't want to log that here, right? That's nice in a log, but we want to basically put it in a spreadsheet. So let's go ahead and do some things. So I'm gonna say event start and location. Did I do anything else? I think there was description, right? I did. So description. So we'll try to just pull those events from the calendar and list it in our spreadsheet. So the titles are going to go here. That's going to be our event, right? So the first one is going to go here. The second one is going to go here. So we're going to start from our A2 cell. Perfect. So I'm going to first of all just in the beginning get my spreadsheet, and that's going to go through my spreadsheet app. And we'll get our active spreadsheet, we'll get our active sheet. Sometimes you can skip the step and not get your active spreadsheet, but I like to do it this way because step by step it makes more sense. It's more precise. So there it is. That's going to give me the spreadsheet that's currently open in this SS variable. So I'll go ahead and do SS dot get range, and it has the row column. So I want it to start from here, and I want the second row and the first column, right? So I'm gonna do 2 1. I'm going to set the value to that title instead of logging it out. So it's not going to be fine yet because we're hard coding row 2, but for now let's just run this, and we may have to give it more permissions. Let's see. Yes, because now we're accessing the spreadsheet through our app scripts, so we're going to have to give more permissions. Let's see. I'm going to go advanced. So this is the other screen I was talking about. So if you get this, you'll have to click advanced, scroll down, and open this on save. See, I'll have to type continue. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Perfect. Allow. Fair enough. So if I go back, see, it says Wednesday meeting. And what happened here is that I got the first one, another Tuesday event, and it put it in the cell, and then it ran it for the second time. And because it's hard coded 2, it's just going to do that 2 all the time. Now, what I really want to do, I want to start from the second, and then I want to increment third and so on. So the first one, if the I initially is going to be 0. So instead of typing 2, I'm going to do I plus 2, and 0 plus 2 is going to be 2. But then when I becomes 1, it's going to be 3, so on. So if I go ahead and run this now, see, we got our event titles from our calendar. Perfect. So we also need the start date, the end date, location, and description. And that should be easy from now on. So to do that, I'm gonna copy this line a few times. So we said start, end, location, description. One more time. SD start date, ED end date, location, description. So now we have to change all of this. So instead of get title, we're going to get not date created. Date created would be the date we actually created it. So we need date get Last updated. Get start time. Perfect. Is there a get start date or so? No. So it returns a date object. That means it's going to include hopefully both time and date. We'll see. So get start time. Perfect. So I assume the other one is going to be like the get end time or something like that. Yeah, there it is. Get end time. Perfect. So this is location. Get perfect location. So I like the way they actually named these methods. It's kind of easy to find them. So this is some of the things in Microsoft. Well, actually, Microsoft is not too bad either. But when you work with like Apple methods, sometimes they're not as intuitive, I find. But I guess everybody has their own style. So description. So it's going to be the same event, right? And the first event is going to be event number 0, which is the first event in our array. And from that event, we're going to get the title, the start time, the end time, the location, and description. And we want to put it in our spreadsheet. And what's going to change is the columns. So it's going to be the same row, but it's going to be the next column over. So the first column we already said it's going to be the title. The second is the start, and the third is the end. So this is SD. This is ED. I believe I said location and description, but we'll go ahead and check. Location, description. Perfect. So let's just test this and make sure this actually works. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see what's going on here. Save this. I'll go ahead and run this. And that works. So now I have the location. I have my description. Right? And I have the start. And by the way, this just shows me the date, but if you look here, see it's the date and time. It's 9:12:11 a.m. and I believe that was the right time, right? There it is, 11 a.m. Perfect. And the end time should be the same day, 2 p.m. That's 14, which is 2 p.m. military time. Now, what we need to do, we need to change the formatting of this. So it actually looks like date, so we can see that this is the date and the time. Now we're going to change that through our app scripts. So for start and end, we need to change the date formatting. So that's going to be the cell formatting. So this is going to be that cell for a start date. So after we set the value, let's go ahead and I guess that's going to be under set font family, font size. Oh, that looks good. Number format, that should work. So string, so that should be the formatting we want to use as a string. So we want the formatting to be, well, I go to 2-digit month, 2-digit day, 4-digit year, and then we'll do hour, minute, second, 2-digit minute, 2-digit second, and we'll do this AM, PM format. That should work, I think. This works in Excel, should work in Google Sheet the same way. Let's just try this out. That works. That's awesome. So that's the start date. We need to do the same for our end date to make sure the formatting is good. So the end date is going to be this one. So that's going to be the same cell. Copy that down, and I need to do the same thing here. And by the way, I had to have a semicolon. I'm surprised it didn't give me an error, but it worked anyways. Run this. So there it is. We have a location description. So we pulled all of it out of our calendar. Now, what I'm going to do, I'll probably change the script a little bit. So initially, I'd like to just clean everything and then have the calendar pull out everything from the calendar. So to clean all of this up, so what I need to do, I will need to first of all get the last row. So before we do any of this, we would like to clean our spreadsheet. So I'm going to do SS. It's going to be our spreadsheet. And I'm going to get my last row. Var equals to that. It's going to be my last row. Now, what I will need to do, I will have to just select the range, get range in that spreadsheet, and we'll use the full one. So I'm going to go row. So I need to start cleaning up from here, from the second row, first column, 2, 1. And this will be the number of rows. So that will be, so if the last row is going to be 3, we will need 2, right? Because we're going to need to do 2 rows down. So that's going to be last row minus 1, because last row is going to give us 3, but we only want to clean 2 rows down. So 3 minus this labels, 3 minus 1. That gets us what we need, comma. And finally, how many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. Seems like. So we want to clear. Yeah, I'm not going to clear the format, although I could, but that should be fine. Clear content. So that should first clean the content, and then it should actually run the script. So that's perfect. Now let's make sure this works. And the way we're going to make sure that this whole thing works, I'm going to delete one of the events, so we make sure that the clearing works. And then I'm going to add some other things to see that we're pulling all the events, right? So I'm going to go here and I'll delete this. I'm going to add something here. So that's Thursday. Added event. And we'll start this 6 a.m. and we'll end it 2 days later, 10 a.m. I guess. I'm gonna leave this empty to see if I get any errors, if my description or location is empty. That will be another check. So that's my Thursday event that lasts for 3 days. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make another event for this day. So that's our Saturday event, apparently. Edit. And again, I'll say 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. This time I'm going to enter a location. Just type something and some description goes here. Doesn't matter. So go ahead and save this, right? So now I should have 3 events and that other one should be gone. So right now I shouldn't have that another Tuesday event that should disappear. So I'll go ahead and run this. There it is, that Tuesday is gone. See with Thursday, so the blanks are just blank, so that's good. 907 to see a couple of days there. There it is. So this works just fine. So that's how we can actually pull all of our events from our calendar. Okay, I think this video is getting too long, so I think I'm gonna end on this. So later on I'll do a video, and what we'll do in the next one, we'll try to actually have our events listed in our Google Sheets, and we'll want to put those events from our Google Sheets to our calendar. So we'll do the other way around. Instead of pulling our events from our calendar, we actually add events to our calendar. Okay, so hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.